Welcome, everyone. Please take your seat. Our program will begin in 10 minutes. Welcome, everyone. Please take your seat. Our program will begin in 5 minutes.
We see all these connections between you and your employees, between your customers and your communities, between your business and the greater good. It's our belief that running a business is about more than making money. It's about making people's lives better. So let's roll up our sleeves and get to work together. Huntington, welcome.
Leo, por favor, invita a la casa.
No, dale, dame para
Oh, por favor.
No, para mí. Para todos.
When the game you love loves you back. Priceless. MasterCard, proud sponsor of the CONMEBOL Copa America.
At Morgan Stanley, old school hard work meets bold new thinking. To help you see untapped possibilities and relentlessly work with you to make them real.
It's a monumental moment for me because I'm in my own community and I'm helping my community build financial stability.
Operation Hope's first office and first launch of a partnership in New Mexico is incredible.
If you have access to the bank and you need help or you start to get in financial distress, we are there to help you, and we are there with the Hope Centers to help you.
I am very grateful for all of you for participating in this.
I feel like it's very important because financial stability, financial literacy is the backbone of success.
We see all these connections between you and your employees, between your customers and your communities, between your business and the greater good. It's our belief that running a business is about more than making money. It's about making people's lives better. So let's roll up our sleeves and get to work together. Huntington, welcome.
Leo, por favor, invita a la casa.
No, dale, dame para
Oh, por favor.
No, para mí. Para todos.
When the game you love loves you back. Priceless. MasterCard, proud sponsor of the CONMEBOL Copa America.
At Morgan Stanley, old school hard work meets bold new thinking. To help you see untapped possibilities and relentlessly work with you to make them real.
It's a monumental moment for me because I'm in my own community and I'm helping my community build financial stability.
Operation Hope's first office and first launch of a partnership in New Mexico is incredible.
If you have access to the bank and you need help or you start to get in financial distress, we are there to help you, and we are there with the Hope Centers to help you.
I am very grateful for all of you for participating in this.
I feel like it's very important because financial stability, financial literacy is the backbone of success.
Welcome, everyone. Please take your seat. Our program will begin momentarily. Welcome, everyone. Please take your seat and silence your cell phones. Our program is about to begin. live from the Signia by Hilton in Atlanta. Welcome everyone as we celebrate our 10th anniversary. Over the past decade, we've brought together global leaders, industry innovators, and change makers that have helped reimagine our global economy. But now we look forward to empowering our potential, impacting our communities, and together shaping the future. Welcome to the 2024 Hope Global Forum's annual meeting. Please welcome Operation Hope's President of Operations, Mr. Lance Triggs.
Good morning, Hotlanta. You guys, you're back for more, huh? You're not tired yet? All right. Well, welcome. We're so excited to have you at the 2024 Hope Global Forum. It's our 10th anniversary. Give yourselves a round of applause. We can't do this without you being here and supporting it for all these years. Now, with the shout out, how many of you been to the Hope Global Forum for more than 2 years? Okay, we got family up here in the house. Well, thank you so much for continuing to stick with us, and we're so excited that we're experiencing our 10th anniversary. Now, keep in mind, none of this happens without all of you taking time out of your busy day to join us, but also our wonderful sponsors, especially those who've been with us along this journey for 10 years. And so before we get started, I have to give acknowledgement to them because it allows us to put on these great types of programs every year. And so I want to first recognize Regions Bank. I know Regions Bank is in the house. Brett Schaefer, Florisha, Candy Moore. Let me pause for a second about Regions Bank. They've been with us not only for 10 years for the Global Forum, but they're a great Hope Inside partner in the great city of Birmingham and in Missouri and other cities and states, and also tied to the city of Birmingham partnership with our Hope Inside the Workplace. So thank you, Regions Bank, for your support. And then JP Morgan Chase, let's give them a round of applause. We appreciate them as well. And then Bank of America, give them a round of applause. Not only they sponsor these events, but we're in 23 to 25 Hope Insides across the country. So thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Emily and team. Appreciate you. And then we also have First Horizon. You had a chance to see how we acknowledge them. They were the first partner that stepped up with 30 locations in multiple states with our Hope Inside program. So let's give them a round of applause. Keith, I see you there, Keith, and Beth Trotter and Beth Ardon. Thank you. Under the leadership of Brian Jordan. And then we also have Purple Rain in the house. That's right. Let's go crazy. Let's go crazy. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. They bring it like this every year, y'all. 10 years straight. And in addition to supporting this forum and these forums over the last 10 years, they have committed, and we are already doing this in 50 locations across the country, supporting over 1,500 bank branches. Give Truist a round of applause for their support. Always down with the community across the United States. And then last but not least, I know the Stagecoach is here. Wells Fargo. You know, our relationship with Wells Fargo beyond the forum goes back to the early 90s when I was just 5 years old, when I started Operation Hope, doing the great work of financial well-being. And so we announced this last year, and we're putting it in, implementing it this year. They've committed to 50 locations as well to serve people across the country. Give them a round of applause. We're currently at 30 locations. And so thank you, Michael. I see you over there. We really appreciate you and your leadership for the support that you give. Thank you, Greg, for being the champion, working with our team very closely. So are you ready to go? Ready to get started? We got a full day of exciting speakers and panelists. And so without further ado, let's get the show on the road. I think we got a video we're going to kick in for you right now featuring Purple Rain.
Operation Hope founder John Hope Bryant and Truist chairman and CEO Bill Rogers recently took some time to reflect about their transformational partnership called Hope Inside. Hope Inside offers financial coaching directly to clients inside Truist Bank branches. Today, we celebrate that venture, which has really made a positive impact and expanded to 1,000 Truist branches.
John, congratulations on the success of the vision for Hope Inside and your just incredible passion for expanding economic opportunity. I am so honored that Truist was a pioneer in this effort with you.
Bill, you were there from the very beginning. The dream that we had in your office, getting the bank out of the no business, I'm sorry you declined for credit, and back into the yes business because your credit score is up, your debt level is down, your savings level is up, so the bank can say yes. And we know Truist wants to say yes. It's one thing to hear me say this, and I hope that people find it inspiring, but it's not as authentic as having one of our coaches, one of our Operation Hope Truist coaches at Hope Inside to talk to true testimonials, and we have a couple here.
After I graduated, I needed to stay longer in the United States. Therefore, I have to learn how to have a house. I decided to search online, and I decided to click on Operation Hope, and this is how the journey started.
She was invited to one of my first-time homebuyer workshop events that I host regularly. That's where I introduced her to a lot of industry experts, of which she met Truist Community Mortgage Specialist David Wood. We both realized that she qualified best for FHA loan product as well as Truist down payment assistance program.
During my first home owner education, I met my realtor, my lender, and then my coach. It took my profile into consideration. My profile is immigrant, not having any professional background here in the United States, no credit score, not even have a credit card. So therefore, he tried to really listen and understand me and trying to find the best way to help me to achieve my goal.
There's help out there. We have at Operation Hope, we have coaches that are passionate about assisting. They are very resourceful in what they do and provide. And Truist again, is really a community partner. I love that they're standing side by side with me to help promote financial literacy to the community. And they provide funding, and their loan products have advantages such as the down payment assistance grant. Truist is definitely committed to making a difference.
Simkafel, Ukafel too. It means that everyone, immigrant, citizen, whoever you are in America, you can do it. If I can do it, you can.
Stories like that we just heard from our Hope Inside branches really highlight how financial knowledge helps people live their true best lives. Our purpose at Truist is to inspire and build better lives and communities. Our teammates live our purpose by serving Truist clients every day. So let's hear from another coach and their client.
I'm the president and co-founder of Strategic Solutions LLC. What we do is we're actually an IT professional staffing and consulting business. I first heard of Operation Hope through Truist, actually.
When I met Adebiyi, he came to Operation Hope through Truist. He wanted to learn how to scale. He wanted to learn different areas of his business within hiring. We went over his current business plan. And then I told him, I recommend you go into the business cohort.
My experiences with Lakita have been transformative. I grew from a single person shop to now 5. She's helped me get clarity about operations, about finance, about strategy, every aspect of the business, that I struggled with in the past.
I saw a progression in him. He has totally improved his credit, his business credit. In that period, that's when we opened up some savings accounts with Truist to put aside so we can use that to leverage for his business. His ultimate goal is to open up a building here for his business in Baltimore City.
I appreciate the service at Truist and the relationship, actually. Because I get calls, how are you doing? What can we help you with? It has been fantastic, actually.
We are closing the gap to create an equal playing field. Everyone can see that it doesn't just happen overnight, but I've seen the progression of when we met to now, and I'm super excited and just grateful to have clients that I can support and help them along this journey.
So Bill, those are two great examples, real people, of how this has driven incredible change and transformation in real people's lives. People don't get how you cannot have a community without banking and without people pursuing the American dream. So thank you, Bill Rogers, and thank you, Truist Bank. We're honored to be your partners, and I'm honored to be your friend.
Congratulations again on your vision, John, and to the entire Operation Hope team. And thank you for collaborating with us at Truist as we work together to inspire and build better lives and communities.
Thank you, Truist, for this incredible partnership. Give them a round of applause. We're changing lives out there. We're changing lives out there together. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Before we kick off our next discussion, I got to pay honor and homage to our global spokesman and titan of this world, Ambassador Andrew Young. We love you, Ambassador. We love you. Give him his flowers, y'all. Give him his flowers. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. So now, please welcome to the stage the Chief Consumer and Small Business Officer for Truist, Mr. Dante Wilson. Come on out here, Dante. And the founder, chairman, and CEO of Operation Hope, John Hope Bryant.
So good morning, everybody. Oh, no. See, I grew up in the black church. Uh-oh. And the Bible suggests, be hot or be cold. If you're lukewarm, I'll spat you out. Translation, even God is not like mediocrity. If you're gonna do it with both feet or don't do it at all. As I said last night, to contextualize, nobody here invited themselves. If you're in this ballroom, if you're in this forum, you are curated of 8 billion people in the world, 350 million people in America. You were selected because of who you are, whose you are, your profile, your impact, your potential. Most of you were scholarshiped in at a cost of $5,000 or $10,000 per person for 3 days. We made an investment in you because we think you're the leaders of the world. So one more time, good morning.
Good morning.
John, it seems like I start tapping my foot and break out to a hymn.
Yeah. And for a banker, that would be quite extraordinary. Look, I don't do these anymore, these conversations. I used to do all of them, and I'm not doing almost any of them now because you have leaders that you'll be hearing who are the best of the best in their category. But every now and then I'll do one because I think it's signature and important. And there's no way for you to understand who this guy is next to me. No way. You walk down the street, you just think he's a nice dressed college student. He looks like he's got a baby face. And if he tells you a banker, you go, oh, you must be a vice president of a branch somewhere or something. Let me give you some understanding. When I talk about the civil rights movement, from the streets to the suites, the colors are red or blue or black or and white, it's green. I'm talking about Dante, well, he's purple. But anyway, I'm talking about Dante. Purple was Truist. Dante is at Truist Bank. That's a shame. Like a portable, cheering section that you...
Posse with me today.
Truist is the 5th largest bank.
7th.
7th largest bank in America. $500+ billion in assets. The income for Truist is about $20 billion a year. He's responsible for 12 billion of the 20 billion a year. He's responsible for, there's 2,000 branches. He's in charge of all of the branches, all of small business, all of consumer facing. He is the first black person. He is the first black person to run an income statement, a balance sheet in a major top 10 bank in U.S. history. We want to thank Bill Rogers for giving him that opportunity. He's the CEO of Truist, but Bill wouldn't have given him that opportunity unless he was tight and right. We believe in the James Brown version of affirmative action. Open the door, I'll get it my dang self. The Bible says in Proverbs, to be poor is not to not have anything. To be poor is not to not do anything. And lazy hands make a man poor. There's nothing lazy about Dante Wilson. It's a bad brother.
Thank you.
So we were talking about there's a brother at Citigroup who has a position that we should be acknowledged. We have Christy Furcho at Wells Fargo. But the fact that there's so few people of color on the executive committee at a bank, and banking is the backbone of access to capital and communities. You can't grow a community without a bank in that community. The fact that we have to name so few people, I think, is unfortunate, but also extraordinary. It's extraordinary that it's even happening. And hopefully because of people seeing you, they want to be you too. You've made smart, sexy, and cool, and you've operated at a level of excellence. And I hope that today, and the response you've already been given, acknowledges that your journey has been worth it.
You know what, thank you, John, and thank you all for being here. And I want to start with just some thanks first. I want to thank the Truist teammates, because I serve on behalf of our Truist teammates. I want to thank everybody that's involved with this movement, so all financial institutions, all partners that's about this movement, because we have to do it collectively together. So thank you all for being here. I cannot be on stage without thanking Uncle Andy right there. So Ambassador Young, thank you for what you've done as a great friend, great mentor of mine. And then John, we have to get a picture. I want someone, can someone get a picture? Brian Davis, can you get a picture for me? Come up here and center stage and get a picture for me, because this is a 10-year anniversary. So congratulations on the vision, because vision without execution is hallucination. So I've seen you execute. But 15 years ago, I was carrying this man's bags and luggage. That's why I want to take this picture. And now I'm on stage with this guy. This is a big deal. So I'm literally driving the car, carrying his bags. Yes, sir. No, sir. What you want to eat, sir? And now I'm on stage with the man. This is phenomenal. So thank you for investing in me, being encouraging all the time. He's one of the only people, he is the only person that always says, Dante, what are you doing for you personally? Every single time, and I can never have a good answer. But I want to thank you for letting me carry your bags 15 years ago.
No, so the story's he got the story a little twisted. So it's a little embarrassing. So I arrive in a city, and this was Montgomery, Birmingham, Alabama. And the mayor was just here, by the way, yesterday, Woodford, who's doing a great job. Anyway, I arrived to give a speech, and typically a young person, an intern, a school student, college student will want to drive or whatever, meet me so they could have a conversation, which was great. So, I figured the organizers were being a little cheap because it wasn't proper, it wasn't a car service. It was a nice car. It was somebody's Mercedes. Somebody had loaned the guy a Mercedes. And it was, and they put me in the front seat. And, I can't even sit in the back and focus. I'm in the front, and the guy's all in my ear. And I'm going, what? Sharp guy? So I leaned over and said, so what college are you from? And he says, no, I'm a banker. I'm in the workplace. I'm like, well, why aren't you at work? You must not be very important. they got you out here picking me up from the airport. And he said, no, I just wanted to meet you, and and he looked over at me. He said, I want to be on the stage with you speaking on the main stage of one of your programs, and I want to be on your board. And I was like, yeah. Get the bag. And he bugged me every 2 years. Let me tell you something. This man is focused. He is lethal on a balance sheet. And nobody gave Dante a thing. He earned all of it.
Yeah, thank you.
And now I say, you've earned my respect without question. I always liked you, always admired you, but you've earned, just by virtue of what you've achieved alone. You're a nice guy. You're a decent person. You're a God-fearing person. You're a father. You're a great role model. I know your whole story. I know your family. You married up.
Sure.
But you're just a good guy, and I'm honored to be with you. And honored to be a partner with Truist.
Yeah, we're honored to be a partner with you. What you all are doing is transformational. We've had this partnership for many years, and we've helped together we provided 250,000 financial empowerment solutions to over 60,000 clients together since the partnership began. That's big time. We've also been on a path with helping small businesses to 1 million small businesses.
Now, I know you're so cool, and you know. By the way, don't these leases look like money? But I want you to speak up so they can hear you. I am somebody.
All right, I got you.
So act like you're in church.
250,000. There we go. All right, there we go. That's better.
And we're at 1,500. Operation Hope is in 1,500 branches. 800 of those branches are in Truist. Yeah.
And we have, 800 branches, over 40 consultants, Hope Inside consultants. We actually have, or coaches, what we formerly call them. We have 2 here today. If you are here, could you please stand up? Because you're making a big difference right there in the front. Thank you. We also have, and they were in the video, by the way. And then we also have one of our clients that is here too, that was in that video. And so thank you for being here. But yeah, we do that collectively together, making a big difference. And I was going to mention about the small business. So over 30,000 small businesses that we're already helped to start or grow in partnership with you. So it's making a big difference.
And there's one MBB also, 1 Million Black Business Initiative.
That is correct. And so data matters, John. You and I talk about this all the time. It's about what economic value you're going to add to the movement. It's about the economic value. And so when we look at stats like 67% of the clients that we have helped have improved their FICO score 42 points. Or we look at the fact that over 70% of the folks that have gotten coaching have improved their median average savings and now have $1,300. Those are the things that help us continue to invest and partner going forward.
So anybody listening here or watching here, I was thinking, Dante, this morning I was getting dressed, how many people wrote me off, dismissed me, rolled their eyes at me 20 years ago? Not doing it now, but anyway, they used to. But we got into the results business. That's what you're talking about. So if you want to know how we do it, it's the deliverables, it's the results. We're not this is not about goody two-shoes or warm feeling. We're creating customers for Truist. That's why it's sustainable.
That's exactly right. And it's sustainable too because we're taking action together. So a lot of people, easy to identify and admire the problem. But what I love about what Operation Hope does, let's go fix it together. What can we do right now together to solve that? So we're in these scenarios. We all grow up like this professionally and personally where we look for, all our life we've been talking about, one day when this happens, one day when this finally comes, one day when the economy is like this, one day when the administration likes it, one day when it stops raining, then I'll finally, versus saying, you know what, we're going to create our own one day win and change it from one day WHEN to WIN. And win today. Have a consulting session with someone to improve that one FICO. Go in, if you're a client out there or a prospect, and apply today. Get on a track today to improve your credit. Hire the right person. Get one more Hope Inside branch today. And when you do that collectively and you win every day, you aggregate that up, you create your own one-day win versus waiting on Superman or Superwoman. And that's what I love about Operation Hope and our partnership, that every day it's about winning one person today, getting them on the right track to financial success.
Absolutely. So we're out of time, but we're not out of experiences together. We're just beginning this journey. I want to thank you very, very much for coming and joining us. Looked like we were in the same closet this morning, by the way.
Mine's about 20,000 cheaper, but yeah.
Funny. No comment. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Well, speaking of 20s, so we are super excited to have been in partnership with you for this period of time, and we're excited to announce today in front of everybody we want to continue the partnership. We're committing for another 4 years at $20 million to be a part of this purpose-driven journey that we're on.
Whoa.
So he said, I want to say it with energy. We're committing another $20 million over 4 years for Operation Hope. I love you. I love the movement. Thank you for what you do. Thank you all for what you do. Really
Wait, hold on. Now, y'all get all excited about rap stars and movie stars. That's all cool. Did a black man just stand up here and say that he's committing $20 million?
There you go.
Thank you, Truist.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bill.
Right.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you all. Have a great day.
That's beautiful.
My name is Kwani Gore, a Delta Airlines New York City-based flight attendant, and my coach is Calvin Haynes. After seeing the advertisement through Delta, I decided that I really want to get my things in order. I have 2 young children, and I just want to make sure that my finances are together so that I can give them the best possible life. My mom passed away when I was pretty young, and my grandmother raised us, and she didn't really have a savings. We did for a while, and then, life happened. And I realized that that's not how I want to raise my children. I want to make sure that we're solid and we're secure, and I never want to feel insecure financially. And so that led me to meeting with Coach Calvin and trying to just have my affairs in order. One of the most important things that Coach Calvin has taught me is to look at my finances and not be afraid to look at what I'm spending. I used to be the type of person to spend and then just hope that I had it when it was time to swipe my card again. I'm not like that. I make sure that I check my accounts daily. I need to know exactly where I stand. I need to make sure that I'm not spending on things that I don't need to spend on. I was spending a lot of money on coffee, believe it or not, like a ton of money on coffee. And I have a great Nespresso machine in my house that I should be using. I'm most optimistic about living a long and peaceful life with my children. The coaching that I'm receiving from Coach Calvin is really helping me with my finances, and my finances being in order helps my house be more peaceful. It's making it so that my time spent with my children is quality time, and I'm not stressed. I'm not worried about the money. We want to buy a house. I want my children to have somewhere to call home, like they're forever home. I want my children to be able to always have somewhere to go, somewhere safe, somewhere secure, somewhere that is theirs and ours. They're young, they're 4 and 1. They want to run outside in the backyard. I want to let them run outside in the backyard. We want a dog. I want to have cookouts in my yard. I want to decorate my house. I want all of the lights for Christmas. I want pumpkins for Halloween. I want to have Thanksgiving there. I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping that I'm able to reach that goal soon.
Please welcome your MC, Emmy Award-winning journalist and host of Lawmakers on GPB, Donna Lowry.
Hey. Hello. Are you having a great time? Isn't it great? It only gets better from here. So that is the exciting part of this. And if this program you are a part of it. So that is the greatest thing I think about the Hope Global Forums is it is about you. And we have in our midst greatness today with Ambassador Andrew Young. Let's give him another round of applause. So glad to have him here. So I'm excited to be here again today. There is so much coming up, and I get to introduce the next one. These forums are all about bringing together some of the world's most extraordinary leaders to focus on an economy that works for everyone, Inclusive economics. How about that? Inclusive economics. To get us started, please help me welcome the CEO of Great Place to Work, Michael C. Bush, the Managing Director of Health and Wellness at Delta Airlines, Dr. Allison Smith, and none other than the CEO of Delta Airlines, Mr. Ed Bastian.
Well, thank you for that, Donna. It's so wonderful to be here. John, thank you for having us. You're out there somewhere. I can't see you in the dark. And Andy, it's great to see you as well. Thank you for joining us. So I've taken over, I guess I've graduated in John's eyes. You know, usually John's interviewing me. Now I'm actually an interviewer. So after 10 years, I guess you get to graduate it through the Hope Global Forum session here. And I have two wonderful colleagues that I've decided to bring to the stage with me. First, Dr. Allison Smith. Allison is part of one of the directors of our health and well-being programs at Delta Airlines. One of the, I think, and we'll talk a lot about this during our session, one of the true elements of value that we came out of COVID with. We always knew well-being was important, but never like when you went through the pandemic, especially as an airline when we lost all of our revenues and needed to rebuild everything from scratch. And Allison's been one of the leaders in that regard. And I'm thrilled to have Michael with us, Michael Bush. He's the CEO of Great Places to Work. You may have heard of his organization. It's a research and analytics firm. They do their surveys for Fortune magazine every year. And all of the companies throughout corporate America are always trying to convince this guy that they should be up high on the list, because it's something not just as a badge of honor, but it's, again, something that validates the hard work, and it's good for employers to see what we can learn from each other, and we're going to have a conversation about that. And the topic we're going to be talking about today is trust, and how well-being feeds trust for a company, trust of its employees, but also trust of its customers. Because at Delta, our job is to take care of our people. And I've talked about this many times at this session over the years. The better job we do as leaders taking care of our people, the better job they're going to be doing taking care of all of you as our loyal customers. And it's about taking care of each other, just to put it in the simplest form possible. And that's where trust, in my opinion, gets created and gets built. So we're going to talk about some of the things that we do. Michael's going to share some of the things that he's seen in his research that we can all learn as customers, as employees, as employers, to do a better job in this very, very difficult environment that we all find ourselves in. So Michael, I'm going to start with you. As CEO of Great Places to Work, you get an inside glimpse of, you rate the top 100, but you see many more than 100 companies. Obviously, you just get the top 100, a really good snapshot view. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing in the marketplace today, as how world-class employers can continue to build better trust and well-being for their employees?
Yes, thank you, Ed, and it's an honor to be here with you and with Allison as well, and with all you good people. And I just want to start with something. I'd like to have a round of applause for one of the greatest CEOs in the world, this man.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I actually have the data to prove it. Because we survey 25,000 companies every year in 170 countries. And what that means is we ask their employees 60 questions, and they give us the answers. That's what leads to our ratings. You can't buy your way onto our list. You can't sponsor your way onto our list. Only employees put you on the list. And so when you've got 25,000 companies and then there's 100, it says something about the 100. And yes, Delta is on that list. And so what we measure is trust. Our tool is called the Trust Index. That's what we are scoring. And we are measuring, asking employees questions to find out whether or not they feel respected by the person that they work for. Do they feel respected by management, who they may never meet? Not everybody's like Ed, who travels around the world meeting employees. They may never meet them, but I can tell you, people will tell you whether they trust their CEO or not, even if they haven't met him. We measure whether or not they feel proud to be a part of the company that they work for, whether they would recommend their company to friends and family to use products and services as well as to work there. We measure whether or not they are on good teams, teams that they trust, where people feel like they're cared for by their teammates and they care for their teammates. That's really the secret weapon in great companies. And we measure whether or not employees feel like they are really needed at the company, a strong sense of belonging, and that they're included in things that are important in the company. And so, which is care, which is the secret weapon in a great company. And when it comes to well-being, great companies have figured out, in good times or bad, if an employee feels like they're a person and not an employee, that's a very different experience. A very different experience. And so we measure well-being in terms of whether or not an employee a person feels like the company cares about their mental health and the mental health of their family. Does the company care about their physical health and the physical health of their family? And does the company care about their financial health and the financial health of their family? That's well-being. That's how we score it. We ask questions to determine that. We look at the company's benefits. And every workplace is a great place to work for some, Ed. Mm-hmm. The key is to be a great place to work for all. Yeah. That's what differentiates our list. And it's harder to be a great place to work for everyone. It should be a great experience if you've been at the company 6 weeks or 16 years. Yeah. It doesn't matter. And so we measure to make sure that benefits are provided to everyone. Mm-hmm. Everybody has great executive benefits. Mm-hmm. Life's pretty good when you get to drink bubbly water or flat water, okay? Which is what executives get to do. The key is for employees who aren't having that experience, whether or not they are feeling cared for. And so COVID really changed the world in terms of employers who didn't feel like they had this responsibility had to assume it. Right. There were some great companies who were already doing it. And there are some companies who have stopped doing it now that COVID is in the rearview mirror. Mm-hmm. And there are other great companies who are even doing more and more of it. So that's well-being. Great leaders have figured it out. Great leaders who don't care about these things in great companies don't last long. Whereas great leaders who can hit the numbers and care about these things, are valued and promoted within their companies.
What are some of the trends or some of the advances that you see great companies doing to continue to drive that trust and get closer to people? And whether you're a large company like Delta with 100,000 employees worldwide or even smaller, mid-sized companies.
Great companies are looking beyond the person who comes to work for them and thinking about however they define family. Mm-hmm. So great companies know that the people around the person who works for them have a lot to do with their well-being. Mm-hmm. And great companies not only care about the well-being when the person's at work, they care about the well-being when the person's outside of work. So great companies will know that in some families, pets are loved as much as children.
Sometimes more.
Sometimes more, And if you how can that be true? That just means you haven't had a pet, okay? Because when you have a pet, I spend more money on my pet than my kids. Yeah. But great companies understand that, and therefore they have benefits, for example, to take care of a person's pets. So it's really the expansion of total rewards, not just for the person, but for what can we do to make things eligible, for the family? What can we do to help other members of the family become more financially literate? What can we do to help other members of the family get mental health benefits? Mm-hmm. And healthcare, companies have done that, but even some people are looking at doing more there. So I think it's really taking the responsibility of how to make it great for this person. Think about two things. Number one is their family, however they define it, and number two is the community that they live in. Yep. Because you can help an employee's well-being when the company does things for the city they live in, mm-hmm. does things in the community that they live in. It gives them a sense of hope, which is the real secret weapon in a person's life. So great companies are expanding the circle of care.
That's awesome. And what a great segue for Allison to bring you into this conversation. I'll tell a story before I let Allison share her stories. So when COVID hit, obviously we were shocked. None of us really knew what was going on in the world. And you could imagine running an airline and losing all of your business overnight. We went from 2019, the best year in our history, to I think in February, March of 2020, we lost almost all of our revenue. And you can all look back and remember those days when the skies were empty and the airports were empty and everyone was ordered to stay home. As a airline, we deal with medical matters, but we dealt with more from a customer standpoint. We didn't really deal with emergencies in the sky or in the airports. I never really felt that we needed a chief medical leader within the company itself. And boy, was I surprised when I looked around and, it turned out I was the chief medical officer because there was no one else to be it, right? So I called the fellow who runs Mayo Clinic, who's a friend, and I said, I'm turning into having to make health and wellness decisions in the midst of a pandemic, and I'm the least qualified person to be doing that. I need help, and Mayo was wonderful, and they gave us Dr. Henry Ting to work with, and Henry's now on staff at Delta. He's our chief of health and wellness, senior vice president, and helped us get through the difficult challenges, whether it's on the vaccination side, whether it's on testing, whether it's on how do you continue to keep people feeling safe and cared for in the skies when you have a pandemic rolling at the same time. But as we worked through the pandemic, got out the other side, it gave us a different, as you said, Michael, view to step back and look at the well-being of the people, our people entirely. We always did a good job of thinking about their financial security. I think we did a very good job thinking about their health benefits from that standpoint. But there's so much more to that. The societal well-being of our people, the emotional well-being of our people, the financial security that our people had. Because if our people don't have that, they can't bring their whole self to work to take great care of our customers. And we want our people to feel cared for and supported, and we have their back in ways, many, many more ways than traditional companies think about it. And so we said we needed a Dr. Allison Smith to come work for us at Delta, and we were able to recruit Allison a few years ago and join our team. And Allison's in charge of many things within Delta, within health and wellness, but one of the things specifically in emotional well-being and how our people deal with stress of a challenging job in a challenging world. So Allison, I'll turn it to you at this point.
Yeah, thanks, Ed. Yeah, this journey to having a whole division focused on health and wellness at Delta has really been, I think, pivotal for me in my career specifically, but I think for just the point that Ed just alluded to, this was a company, and, I've only been part of it for 3 years, but my understanding is that wellness has always been at the front and center and a focus of the company. But in the midst of a pandemic, as Ed was just sharing, when, it was financial strain on the company and, a lot of insecurity, to then take that foresight and double down on that investment into health and wellness, to say this is something we are going to focus on, we're going to build structure around, we're going to hire people to just dedicate time and effort into health and wellness. I think that probably was looked at as a pretty risky investment, truly, during such unprecedented times when the financial strain was so great. But it took a leader like Ed, and it took a team really focused on the thing that mattered the most, which was our dedication to our people. And, Ed, this is your story, but, to look during the pandemic and say, what are we going to focus on? How are we going to help? And the one thing I think I heard from you was that you were going to focus on our people and care for our people in that moment. And that was our customers, but it was our employees. And to be able to do that, we brought in this team focused on health and wellness. And I do think that has real benefit and real impact on our people and our ROI and the experience even of our customers. So it's been a worthy investment. It's been a long, interesting journey building this team and structure. But, I really think that it's a part of the fabric at Delta and really put the emphasis and put, Ed's values as front and center, that we were investing in our people and our health and wellness.
Allison, one of the things that you've taught me as we look at how we are as a people, not just our physical and financial health, but our mental, emotional the safety, the security, how we feel as peoples in today's society with the challenges that we face in today's society is the concept of resilience. And I know it's one of your favorite things to talk about. It's one I've stolen it from you. It's one of the favorite things I've learned to talk about. Resilience is one of my favorite words. Because people think about resilience, all we've been through. You build resilience, but resilience is much more than that.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how we view resilience for our people and taking care of them and, again, having that trust that we create with each other?
Yeah, resilience is an interesting thing because I like to always start by defining it. It's part of it is doing well when you shouldn't be doing well. It's growing stronger in the face of adversity. It's employing a specific set of skills so that when hardship comes, you actually learn and grow and advance because of that adversity, because of that challenge, not just despite it. But I think it gets a bad reputation. A lot of people talk about resilience and think about just grit, just pushing through, just getting to that next thing. But true resilience, I think, comes from this skill set that allows people to learn and grow and be better. And I think it's a little bit easier in the circumstances like a pandemic, where everybody's in it together. We have opportunity to be a little more vulnerable, to ask for help when we need it, to reprioritize things, maybe take just the really high priority things and work on those and let other things fall to the wayside. That's a little bit more available to all of us when there's a really big thing going on. I think the true resilience that we all really need to focus on actually gets a new definition, a new term. We call it buoyancy. So if you imagine resilience is employed during like the tsunami, and buoyancy is that day-to-day waves that we face every day, the challenges, the stress, the struggle, the interactions that are hard at work, the financial stressors in our lives, all of the things that kind of just we deal with day in, day out. It's actually a little harder to be resilient during those because we don't have this shared experience and people that we can rely on and the ease of being a little bit more vulnerable. And buoyancy, that ability to tolerate and get through those hard times, I think comes from community. It comes from having a team. It comes from feeling like you belong. And that's something that I think you've really focused on at Delta. It's something that our team really focuses on at Delta, building those resources so that people can be there for one another and our customers.
Michael, one of the things you shared that you saw companies in the past doing, looking at the benefit structure that employers would have to take care of their employees, and a lot of different differences, I'm sure, in that. But one of the things that we've done, and I'd like to get your feedback on this, is that in the past, we had emotional well-being. People could see a counselor, they could go to a mental health professional if they were having some type of specific issue. People wouldn't do it. Yeah. And so we said, no, we're going to bring that in-house. And we've got a leader in the field to come work with us, and that's allowed us to bring that benefit to life. Could you speak a little bit about how you see companies continuing to embrace wellness in the overall workplace as a whether it's a competitive advantage to get the best talent, or is this just to make sure they're doing a great job serving their customers?
So a couple things come to mind. One of them is a lot of companies, not enough, but a lot of companies during the pandemic hired, a Dr. Ting or a Dr. Smith, Dr. Allison Smith. In many of those companies, those people are gone. Mm-hmm. Pandemic cleared, and they're like, I don't think we need a Dr. Smith here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they're packaged out. She's still here. Yeah. Okay, that says something about your value.
She's on stage.
Oh, yeah, she's actually
still here. She's on stage.
She's on stage.
She's taking my role.
Yeah, and we were talking backstage, and Allison said, I really don't love public speaking. You're a very good public speaker, by the way.
I appreciate that.
So, but you also said when you're talking about what you care about, so that's one thing. That some people, it's in the rearview mirror now. It's something that can be cut. Yep. Some great companies are continuing and doubling down. The other thing is you have to meet people where they are. So you have to have things that, when there's an EAP program, once a person reaches, they're having to wrestle with a secret. I'm a little ashamed. There's a huge fear wall to get over. And by the way, it must not be that important to the company because it's sitting out here.
Right.
I'm not putting EAP programs down. They've been very important, but it's different when you bring it inside.
Yeah.
Because all the other things that are important are inside.
Yeah.
So it means something. It means that from the top all the way down, the company's making an investment. And we talk about being a great place to work. Part of being a great place to work is you got to make money, Ed. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's not just about the feeling that employees have.
This stuff isn't cheap.
It's not cheap. These are serious investments that have to stand up to shareholders.
Yeah.
They have to believe that making investments like this are going to pay off. Many are skeptical, but when you're performing like you're performing, running the most profitable airline in the world, it gives you, yeah, oh, okay. And here's the most important point, which is not anything to do with your question, but I have to make this point. See, some people go, oh, they're the most profitable airline in the world. That's why they can afford to hire Dr. Smith. It's because they hire Dr. Smith that you're the most profitable airlines in the world. People don't get the difference, okay?
Completely.
The other thing is, which is around just courageously believing your values, that very rarely will CEOs say what I've heard you say. And I know great CEOs. I really do, and I know them. Mm-hmm. But in a pinch, I will say to them, who's more important, the customer or the employee? They go, the customer. Now they'll whisper, the employee. But out loud, they say, when they go to Wall Street, they say, you're the one person who will say it's the employee.
Absolutely.
You just put it out there and say it. And here's what it does. It electrifies 100,000 people.
Yeah.
It just electrifies them. And then they want to give more because they have a courageous leader, who will say these things. So at Great Place to Work, the thing we know after we analyze all this data is that a great place to work, it's about the leaders that are in the company. Mm-hmm. And I mean at the top, I mean in the middle, and don't forget the most important leader, the frontline supervisor. Okay, that is it every single day. We got a few frontline supervisors out here, okay?
That's right, they're the ones that make it work.
Every day, because they see the customer.
Yeah.
Or right there, at the moment of truth, which are millions of interactions, especially for a company like yours. Those people affect 70% of an employee's experience. If you say to a person, this is a great place to work or not, it's that person. Forbes did a study, we participated, where they actually said, would you rather, who can make your life worse? An ex-spouse who you don't like, or your people manager? Overwhelmingly, it's the people manager. They would rather be along with an ex-spouse. This might be a touchy subject, okay, but it makes a heck of a point on how important people managers are in a person's life. And so because that person, if they're respectful, if they listen, if they speak in a respectful way, if they involve, engage, make decisions that affect your work along with you, if that person does that, the employee goes, I trust this place. Mm-hmm. And they say, I want to be here a long time. We ask them. At the right time in the survey, we ask them, do you want to be here a long time? Kind of out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. They pause on that. We see it. And then they answer because they're thinking about, are they going to commit their future to this place? That's how powerful a leader is. And then when you're having that high trust experience, you're more collaborative. You're more innovative. You adapt to change. You have a culture, a workplace that's full of belonging and inclusivity. And then you have higher EBITDA, higher free cash flow, higher market share, higher profitability, higher revenue growth, all those things that matter. But that's the equation, from left to right. And so great companies don't get involved in a trend, like return to office became a trend. They loved it, now they don't. Yeah. Okay? Great companies, if they didn't love it, they didn't love it during COVID. Yeah. They did it because they had to. Right. But they actually believed in people being together. Yeah. And so making that statement. And so, and these are things that when leaders flip-flop, trust goes down. Yeah. Exactly. Trust goes down. A leader who flip-flops, that person goes home and updates their LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what happens. It's good for LinkedIn. Oh, okay, but it's not good for the company. And for all the people leaders out here with me, I'm a people leader. We're people leaders. Everything you do, everything you say, everything you write, everything you don't write, your tone of voice, you're either building trust or eroding it or rebuilding it. This is every single day. People are watching us as a people leader all the time. And so we want to make sure that we don't be like, hey, Billy, hey, Joe, what's up, Bob? Okay, Billy and Joe are like, how come I don't get a what's up, Bob? Yeah. Okay, leaders have to be consistent.
Yep.
They have to work to be consistent. We have to create a workplace where it's a great place to work for all. It's a real challenge because there's some people we really like being around and some people we don't so much. We're like, oh, there he is. I'm going to go head this way. Okay, because we're humans.
You have them families too, by the way.
Yes, exactly. You know, because we're humans. But the push to create a great workplace is I might be uncomfortable with this person. I got to connect with this person because my company depends on it.
Absolutely.
It's the emotional health is critically important. It needs to be accessible and normal, and not something extra. And I don't have to feel shame because I'm pursuing it. Just like when I go to the doctor because I hurt my foot, you don't feel shame then.
Right.
You shouldn't feel shame about that. I don't understand compounding interest. I really don't understand 401k. What the heck is that? Right. Okay, I don't understand, so I'm not really going to do it. And I should save my money. I've been hearing that since I was 6, and I haven't saved a dime. Okay, these are the realities, perhaps in my life. Well, how can you understand that there's some things that I don't know and compassionately find a way, as you have done with your emergency savings program, to teach me, guide me. The worst thing you could do is just give somebody some money and put it in an account for them.
That's exactly right.
That's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Michael. And I think that, again, is a great question for Allison, because we wanted to talk for a few minutes about the emergency savings program, which John, you and your team, and Lance and Kevin have done such a wonderful job for the Delta employees. Over 45,000 Delta employees have started to build their emergency savings fund because of the great work we're doing together with Operation Hope. Can you share, Allison, a little bit about what we're doing around financial well-being and how that project, we're now in year 3, is coming along?
And our financial wellness team is right up front here. I just want to give them a round of applause. Thank you for everything that you guys do. I am certain I'm not the first person to share this statistic, but more than 50% of Americans don't have $1,000 to use in the case of an emergency. And it took our leadership at Delta to recognize we just didn't want that to be Delta people. And so engaged with Operation Hope and Fidelity Investments in a program to secure $1,000 in an emergency savings fund for our employees who engage in some financial counseling. So they're learning and they're also investing in their future and their security. I asked Josh, who's here today, for a couple of anecdotes just to understand a little bit about the impact to our people, and he shared a couple of really great stories. And I think it gets directly at what you were sharing, Michael, about holistic wellness impacts not just the employee. It's not just about your customer. It's about the community and the people around them and whatever it is that they define as family. And two of the stories that kind of rose to the top for me, one was a story of one of our employees who started the financial counseling in order for Delta to match the funding of their emergency savings fund, stopped right away and went and grabbed her teenage son and made him come and take this counseling course with her, and just shared that she had wished that somebody had done this for her as a teenager. We're impacting generations and families, so it's really an important point. Another one was a family the employee was driving their child to their start of college, and the alternator died in their car. And instead of this becoming the emergency that maybe meant the kid didn't get to college for the first day, or that this was going to be a financial strain that would impact them over months and months, they were able to use the $1,000 that they had in their emergency savings fund, fix the car, made it to college. I mean, again, families are impacted by this great resource. So I don't know if you have other stories to share.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. We survey, like you do, Michael. We survey our own people to see how they're doing. That have taken the financial well-being programs and wellness programs. And almost half, or 100,000 people, 45,000 people have already, most of them have already concluded it, but many are still in the process of doing it. And I always say from the stage when I'm talking to Delta employees, what's wrong with the other half of you?
Yeah.
You know, if I had $1,000 here, there'd be a stampede to try to give it to the first one to the stage, right? And so we're continuing to bring people in as we go. But the thing I'm most impressed with is the scores after, is that people are leaving that money for that rainy day. They're not saying, okay, it's $1,000, let me put it into my pocket now before I, and get back to the way things used to be.
And continuing to.
And they're investing alongside us, and they're continuing to grow that savings. I think over 75% of the people that have been through the program have now increased their savings or adding to that well-being. The sense of confidence they have around financial security has increased. Over 70% of the people saying they feel tangibly better about their financial security. Overwhelming improvements in their credit scores and their confidence to go out into the world and be able to plan for the future. All of which comes back to what your role is pretty much on the emotional well-being and stress. We know one of the top stressors that exists for people in the world is money. And by the way, it doesn't matter if you make a lot of money or a little money, the problems are just bigger on the other side sometimes, right? So I think this well-being and this wellness brings people out. They understand the care that Delta is taking care of them. We have so many of our customers that are aware of what we're doing, that thank us for taking care of the people that take care of them. This is a full circle moment. And Operation Hope and everyone here from Operation Hope, I want to give a big thank you to for continuing to support us in doing that. So we have a few minutes. I like to wrap it up with a topic that both of you have, I'm sure, a lot of experience in. With the world as society as divisive as it feels, and got through a tough election season, it still feels somewhat we're in a divided place. That stress is causing people to worry and angst and anxiety, no matter which side of the ledger you fall on. There's challenges out there in the world. And can you talk a little bit about stress and burnout and some of the things you see companies doing, Michael, Allison, some of the things that you're implementing to help our own people in that regard?
Yeah, sure. I think when it comes to stress and burnout, I just read a Harvard Business Review article a few months back about emotional health in the workplace. And they had surveyed employees and found that in order to help their mental health, employees identified 78% of employees said that a safe, sustainable culture at work would improve their mental health. And that was ranked over things like mental health treatment access, which is a big pivot from during the pandemic when we were in this moment of crisis, and access to care was such a crucial piece. And I'm really proud. I think we solved a lot of that access, to mental health during the pandemic. We partnered with the right partners. We made some big changes that weren't easy, but we actually really expanded access to mental health care. So I'm glad that that's, a little bit more stable, and it feels like we're in a good place there. But this safe, sustainable culture at work, that sounds like a hard thing to achieve if it's not already there. But, I would actually posit that there's probably 2 or 3 things that you can do to build a safe, healthy, sustainable culture at work. One of them is psychological safety. So it's just got to be a part of your every single day. Psychological safety is that ability for people to take risk, which helps your business. It's that ability for people to pose a differing opinion or, raise their hand and say, I'm not doing okay today, without feeling like they might get judged or punished in some way, or maybe not get that next promotion, or that you'll, maybe consider them less than. So psychological safety has to be a part of our teams to have a safe, healthy culture at work. Additionally, I think it comes from a sense of belonging. So however you can do that, a sense of belonging may not be inherent to just having a big team or, coming into work every single day. You may put on your suit and feel like an imposter every single day. You may put on your suit and say, I belong here. This is where I am supposed to be. But that's not true for everybody. So you can build that sense of belonging through things like business resource groups. At Delta, we've built out peer support groups for, shared experiences. Maybe the loss of a loved one or a cancer journey. Being able to connect with people who've been through something hard is really powerful. So belonging is really critical. And I think the last one is a sense of control. And you just mentioned, control is tough, and a lot of us don't have it in our lives outside of work. Because of political changes, because of financial strains, because of whatever it is. If we can give that to people at work, that's an incredible gift, that sense of control. So I think it's really psychological safety, belonging, and control are pieces that contribute to that safe, healthy, sustainable culture at work. And that helps people to mitigate burnout. That helps people to rise and sustain and continue to do the hard work that they're doing.
Even when they shouldn't be okay sometimes.
Yeah.
That's great. Michael?
Yeah, Ed, I was in New York last week, and I was a block away from the CEO who got tragically shot.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of activity. Now, so that happened. My phone lit up from people knowing I'm in New York. Mike, are you okay? That kind of a thing, which made me feel good. The other thing is, immediately on my phone, it said, alert, shooter, armed, dangerous, running to Central Park. I was right at Central Park, wearing a beanie. Okay? Now, Ed, because of my life's experience, guess what? I had my black beanie on from Delta Airlines. It had a 50 on the front. I took it off, man. Okay. Okay, so what I'm here to say is, we all have different experiences that make us, my head's going to be cold. It was 29 degrees.
I can understand.
They weren't pinning me to the ground, over something I didn't do. Here's the other thing. I grew up in Oakland. So I will tell you that at the thing I went to, the CEO event, everybody was, for me, it's not like I'm desensitized, but my life's experience has been such, I'm kind of desensitized. Mm-hmm. So I'm making that point. We're all different, okay? The other thing is, if anybody thinks everybody's okay with the election, if you're going to work thinking that, keep drinking, okay? That is not the case.
Right.
This thing is boiling.
Yeah.
This thing is boiling. And so for me to be psychologically safe, I have to be able to be myself. And I want to know that I'm around real people who are feeling these things too.
Right.
Okay? And I like to live in the real world, which I just described, the real world for me. Employee resource groups are really important, and you have them at Delta. Any of you part of ERGs? Okay. I was getting worried for a second. I heard two people clapping. Okay. To me, they are the secret weapon for this tumultuous time of people. I would like to be on teams where I feel safe. On teams where I can get finger scroll and I put my phone down and somebody knows, how you doing, man? Because that's what's happening now. I'm finger scrolling and I got to put my phone down, to take care of my mental health. And I know I'm around people and I don't want to pretend everything's okay because it's not. And I don't want to pretend that 2025, everything's going to be okay and it's just an election and so on. Final point, we survey all around the world. For the first time in our 170 country surveys, the U.S. election trended. These are people who live outside the U.S.
Outside the U.S.
Who are talking about the U.S. election.
Sure.
And they're in Argentina, some challenging places, the highest inflation in the world. But outcome of the U.S. election, worried about it. That just tells you that the world is complicated,
is real.
Yet we're all connected, and we want to build cultures where people can be themselves, and let's stay in the real world.
Absolutely. That's the best thing we can do. Well, Allison, Michael, thank you. Hopefully you all got a lot of great feedback and input and pointers. We're just going to sink off into the sunset here.
You guys are very appropriate. You were paying attention, and I love it. Let me contextualize something for you about Ed Bastian. I get this text message 4 days ago from a very conservative, I'm going to bring a Caucasian businessman from Birmingham, Alabama, who's here. I probably shouldn't say his name, Rick Swagler. And Rick retired from a major bank in Alabama. He sends me this note, which he's so proud of.
Y'all will never make me hate Atlanta. This is a text from somebody that he sends me. He's so proud of this. Y'all will never make me hate Atlanta. Tonight, I'm at a Delta Airlines employee holiday gala, and I'm almost certain Delta is the blackest major corporation in the world. And I love it. This was just random on Twitter, and this tickled Rick Swagler so much because he knows how hard leadership is. He knows that it's impossible to make everybody happy. Leadership's tough, just like you were saying. Ambassador Young is sitting there. He told me, you've expanded the routes to Africa. Not because it's just the right thing to do, it's profitable. But it takes courage to do that. You named your headquarters building, the Andrew Young Building at Delta Airlines. You've named airplanes after Andrew Young, Martin Luther King Jr., all these heroes and sheroes that don't get the credit that they deserve. But in Atlanta, the civil rights icon city, Hank Aaron, you have gone out of your way to distinguish the character of this city and to make it part of your global brand.
Yes,
so when these planes go, they go.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
When there was a crisis around voter inclusion, you called me at 10 o'clock at night and you said, I got to put myself in the seat of my black and brown employees and say, how am I going to feel about this? That was 10 o'clock at night. During the pandemic, you brought us in to do financial inclusion. Some of your folks didn't see the value of it. They then called me later and said, I now see what Ed sees. And as a result of that, you didn't have to lay off one employee. They voluntarily furloughed themselves. And when you came back, they came back. You're now the biggest, most profitable airline in the world. And hold on, when I needed a CEO of a Fortune 100 company to show up at Operation Hope to say to other CEOs, it's okay. The first one to show up 8+ years ago and has told me I'm on every schedule. I want to be the first CEO on your schedule every year. The first one never makes a big deal about himself. The first one to do it is Ed Bastian. Do me a favor, give this man some love.
Thank you. Love you, bro.
Thank you.
My name is James Moore, 58 years old, and I live in Harrison, Tennessee, right outside of Chattanooga. A few years back, I was having my credit checked, and for something was wrong. I've never had it. I've always paid cash. I had good credit, bought a house and everything, and all of a sudden, when we decided to upgrade, I didn't have any credit. So talking to my bank manager at First Tennessee, which is now First Horizon, got me in touch with Operation Hope back in 2019. I tried to get a bank loan, and I had never had my credit score checked. I've always, paid cash. And when we went there, they started asking me about my credit and stuff. Well, when the bank manager said something's wrong here, they checked my credit, and I didn't have any. So we pulled a credit report, and lo and behold, there was 27 spots on my credit report that wasn't even mine. Don't know how it happened or when it happened. They think it happened in 2003. It got crossed over, got mixed up, whatever, so on. And my credit was absolutely ruined. So they got me in touch with Operation Hope. I called and set up an appointment with Miss Jessica, and lo and behold, she jumped right on it. I think I sort of stunned her when she seen it, and I was telling her everything was going on. Next thing I know is we're making phone calls, we're keeping in touch, and so I'm just waiting on my new credit report. Since I know some, she's explaining it better to me, and it's an ongoing journey. I'm not through. I may be bugging Miss Jessica here a few more times this year before the year's out, just to keep a check on it. You know, I'm not going to give up on them. I hope they don't give up on me. As Miss Jessica over there, she's top notch in my book. Well, to be honest with you, I'm probably a little bit too old to be optimistic about much. But I would like to have, you know, I'd like to have something to pass along to my kids, maybe buy a little bit of property. You know, financial is one thing, but getting there is another. And when your credit score is just not where you want it, and you got somebody to coach you along, your optimism is a lot higher than what it used to be. So I was very disappointed in the past of it. Crushed me a little bit because I thought I was doing good, but a little bit late in life, that's what I'm doing. So optimistic, I'm going to have a good one, and I'm going to enjoy my life with the help from Operation Hope.
All right, are you having a good time? It's good, isn't it? It's just going to keep getting better. And we're going to talk sports, baby. How many are ready for that? We are ready. You are about to see something you're not going to see anywhere else. That's why you're here, because you get to see something very, very special at the Hope Global Forum. So, something very special. Won't see this very often anywhere else. We're going to see right now, we're going to talk about the future of sports. The future of sports. So I want you to please stand for this, because this is big. We want you to give a warm welcome to the NFL Commissioner, Roger Goodell, Major League Baseball Commissioner, Rob Manfred, NASCAR President, Steve Phelps, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, and your moderator, NFL reporter and NASCAR host for Fox Sports, Shannon Spakes. Let's give them all a big round of applause.
What's wrong with you people?
Yeah, let's get up.
I'm completely confused. You're spoiled. We've spoiled you. This has never happened in the history of America that all major sports commissioners on one stage at one time as a force for good for the underserved. Please show them some Atlanta love.
We need to take no pressure for me, right? No pressure. I might be out of a job if this doesn't go well. Time is up in 38 minutes. Let's go. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. It's such an honor to sit up here and talk to all of you guys. So while I was getting ready for this, I was doing some research, looking up specific things about this forum, and obviously the phrase, the future, was front and center. I saw it so many times, and it's really interesting because I think about the future, and even when I was a little girl, and even now, it's scary sometimes, exciting, but definitely scary. And I thought, what if we get the opportunity at some point in our lives to sit down with men and women who shape the future? Men and women who have such wherewithal and such insight that they literally shape what we're going to see and read and watch and experience in the future. And I realized that the last 2 days for everyone in this room is basically a cheat code into that, because we get to sit down with today the four men who are shaping what I love more than anything in the world, besides obviously my kids. It's sports. So I'm super excited to be here with the four of you and to talk about this. And I'm going to start with you, Commissioner Silver, because I don't know if you know this, but the Sports Business Journal just came out with a 2024 reader survey. And you were nominated as the most intriguing. I was going to have some fun with that.
Sure what that means.
I looked it up, and intriguing has a lot of different definitions. But since you have the most intriguing title, according to sports fans, I wanted to start with you. And listen, I know this is about looking ahead to the future, but I want to take a moment to look back. One thing that you're most proud of since taking this role on is what?
Well, first of all, it's great to be here with everybody here in Atlanta and a wonderful city, so thank you. Most proud of, I think I'm most proud of, I think I'm here representing the WNBA too, which is part of the NBA.
Which, by the way, was the most intriguing sport on that list.
We're together, so I think I'm most proud of the men and women who make up these leagues, and not just the athletes on the floor, but as you know, because you announced for one of our teams that there are literally thousands of people that it takes to operate these leagues. I mean, when you add the mix of the people in the arenas, it's tens of thousands of people. And so what I'm most proud of are my colleagues. I mean, as you said, we were talking a little bit before, how meaningful sports are in society, and especially, I know we're talking a little bit today about internationally, but it may be not just the United States, but globally, one of the few things out there that creates commonality, unity among people in the world. And I think that for those of us, and I view it as a privilege to work in this industry, and the thousands of people just in our leagues, that ability to come to work every day and be doing something that we truly love. And the business of sports is a team sport as well. It requires us all to work together to build these great relationships with fans, the great broadcast. So I think that's what I'm most proud of.
That's awesome. Steve?
So I think, am I on?
You're on.
I think for me, our sport was going through some difficulty. In 2018, we'd had some ratings declines, and since I've been in my seat, coincidentally, we've actually steadied the ship and are growing. And I'm really proud of the work that our industry has done to get us there, because it really, as Adam talked about, it's about this collection of people who make this thing happen. And so in our case, it's roughly 10,000 people who make up our sport that put this sport on a weekly basis from February through November. And it feels good to grow, right? It feels good to be expanding your fan base. And our fan base now is, you look in the last 3 years, we are more female, there are more people of color, and we're younger. And you need to do that as a brand. You have to infuse your brand with new customers, and that's what we're doing. But it really is the collective that allows us to do that. Race teams, drivers, tracks that we own and some that we don't own. And then the men and women who work at NASCAR. So I'm really proud of that.
Just move down the line.
Well, I think our sport probably has the reputation of being most bound up by history and tradition. And so I do take pride in the change process that we've gone through in the last few years. I think it was important because the process of changing the game on the field began by listening to our fans, trying to understand what they wanted from the game, how we could make the game better. And then we did manage to pull the constituencies, owners, players, fans together to produce, something that most people at first blush, a clock in baseball, they thought that was a really bad idea. And it turned out to be a pretty good idea, actually. And again, the fans are the biggest test. We've gotten younger. We got our attendance back above 70 million people for the first time in a decade. And it has been a process that I think will allow the industry to evolve more freely in the future.
I would say our fans. Ultimately, whatever we do, whatever we work on, whether it's the game or whether it's our media agreements, it's all about, are you serving your fans better than you were the day before? Are you reaching more fans? Are you giving them better access? Are you giving them an opportunity to experience your sport in a better way than they did before. And I've often said there's never been a better time to be an NFL fan. I think I'd say that probably collectively there's never been a better time to be a sports fan. I think all of us feel really fortunate to be a part of this. So we thank John Bryant for having us, and he's my hero, and I'm grateful he had us here.
I'll follow up with you, Commissioner Goodell. We're going to start talking, obviously this is a global forum, so I want to start there international. Obviously, the NFL plays internationally, NBA, NASCAR will be going to Mexico City, both the Cup Series and Xfinity Series, and I know that there's plenty of talks about expanding. When we talk about the hardcore fan and the fan, what's their reaction? What's the reaction outside the country? And what is the sweet spot for you in terms of continuing to push internationally while staying here in the United States as well?
Well,
I know that's a lot of questions, and I'm sorry I threw them at you quickly.
No, I'll just take that and run with it. I think the benefit the NFL has to a large extent is football is not a global sport, at least American football is not. There's another football that is a global sport. And I think that actually gives us an opportunity because we're introducing our sport to fans on a global basis. And when they get the opportunity to see it either on television or experience it when we come to a stadium internationally, I think they see, wow, that is an experience that I want more of. And I think that gives us a real potential to grow the sport, to be a global sport, and actually define how that happens to a large extent. So we're focusing on playing more games. We played 5 this past season. We'll play 8 next season on a global basis. And we hope to be 16 within a few years. And so that will be what I call the spark. You have to follow that up with the proper media coverage so that fans can experience your sport on a real-round basis, understand more of the game, understand more of the players. And that's the challenge for us, but it's more importantly, I think, the opportunity for us. I think we have a real chance to be global here in the next few years.
And Commissioner Silver, I know that there are so many international players in the NBA. So what is the sweet spot for you in terms of moving outside the United States?
The sweet spot, Steve and I were just talking, we were over at the Olympics this summer in France. And so, the basketball, we're fortunate it's been an Olympic sport since the 1930s. Yeah. So in addition to the fact that the game is played all over the world, now because of advances in media, even in my roughly 30-year tenure at the league, it used to be that in the old days, tapes were literally sent over, overnight express, et cetera, to get to other parts of the world. Then satellite technology brought them. But now through streaming, digital, mobile technology, people can literally watch games anywhere that they can get, a cell service or Wi-Fi anywhere in the world. And that's allowed us to expand in amazing ways. I mean, I'm being here in Atlanta, it's hard not to think of Dikembe Mutombo, who's an adopted son of this town. And
I was going to say, if we didn't get a clap for that, we got to see if everyone's awake in here.
Yeah, I was back, unfortunately, in Atlanta, several weeks ago for his memorial service. And I remember when he came into the NBA in 1991, there were 4 players from Africa. Now it's hard to believe we have 50 players in the NBA who either were born in Africa or one of their parents was born in Africa. So just by way of example.
Yeah. And we had multiple from France who went in the NBA draft.
And now we had, just think back of the Dream Team in 1992 for people who are old enough. We had just a handful of players from Europe then, none from France. And now we have a dozen players from France, including 2 number 1 picks. Mm-hmm. And, roughly, I think 60 players in the NBA from Europe. So we're seeing the game played all over the world. And what the real advances have come, for example, Roger touched on media. We just did a new set of media deals. And now going forward, every game, we'll have more games on broadcast. Still, of course, there's, cable is declining, but still is an important platform for us. But every game after the season will be available on a streaming service. And that's by definition global. And so it gives people the opportunity to access games wherever they are, and also not just it's a little different in our sport, as you well know, because we have so many games. The same with baseball, that there's not that bandwidth constraint you have with cable, that when you have streaming, you can have all the games on all the time. So it creates this opportunity for people all over the world. That the real obstacles are time zones, of course. That, I mean, for example,